Okay, thanks for me, Eugene Martinov. Hi, people, and this is the next update. So, quickly, that yes, it's one of the longest in a short series, which I had delays 4 months from now, and finally, I found time, and finally, not more time, but more about willing to record it. Thank you so much for waiting for it, and yeah, so let's go forward. And also, I was thinking about a bit of changing the structure of the video, so I'll keep it a bit differently in terms of I'll give a short updates about things happened and continuing, and then one of the topics, like main topic, I'll try to discuss a bit more in depth. Um, and yeah, this is your first video in this format. Let's see how it works. So, quick updates for me. So, if you don't know, I work for already 4 months for a big bank in the Netherlands. Now, as a freelancer, as external. Yeah, I'm working on plot feature for the whole organization, I believe. And yeah, so experience scale. I think it's the biggest scale I had in my entire career. Probably not. So with my first startup in the Netherlands, we had millions of users already, but yeah, I think this is again scale which you don't often have, at least for me. And yeah, it's also because of the scale and the corporation. It's corporation structure. Additionally, thought requirements about security, legalization, legal stuff, and the team is quite big. So I believe there is around at least 30 or more Android developers. Still not huge, still not like a scale of big tech. But yeah, I definitely experience the toughness of exchanging knowledge and coming to agreement, and most importantly for me is ownership. So one nice thing in this organization which I really favor is they have a chapter they called. So in a iteration 2 weeks, one day is completely dedicated to things related to tech. It's a bit of work sometimes because like people choosing things they want or like, which might not lead directly to some business value. However, I believe this is also great because many or some of this actually gives an ideas and thoughts, and probably also later will translate it to a business values. But still, you have a day which you can plan yourself. You can actually spend yourself on the things you feel important, and most importantly, you can collaborate with many people in the chapter to actually tackle something bigger, which is impossible to do yourself. That's end of work update and a bit of a personal life updates or personal development as well. So finally, after 43 years, I decided to get a driver license. I think getting a skip license was kind of biggest boost. So I felt like, okay, so if I can manage a boat, it's probably I can manage a car. And since I enjoyed so much board sailing, I probably will also enjoy operating a car. So basically that's much happened. So I'm actually doing now theoretical exam in a couple of weeks, and I also plan to start practical lessons. So goal for this year to finally get driver license and then use it. We'll see. But there are some opportunities to do that. And one of my passion or hobbies recent from the last year, which I realized is sailing. So yeah, I have kind of small plan how to involve and things also coming sporadically. So yeah, I got a VHF license this year. So last month, now I have a license to operate VHF radio, and it's great. So that's sometimes required in some marinas or in some charters, and it's usually useful to understand things and basics in theory and requirements, and then also operate it properly. And this year I already made 3 sales, which is kind of, let's say, too many, and kind of looking for my previous experience. And I plan to do more. And some of them were great, like couple of some of them were longest, like a couple of days, 3 days, 4 days. So okay, let's not. There's only 3 sales. It's not so many. So I did 3-day sale, 4-day sale, 2-day sale, 3-day sale, and then 1-day sale. And the plan for this year in the sailing part, probably pick up 1 or 2 kind of long sales, 3 couple of 4 days. There's some ideas to do where to go, and the majority of the time spent on the open water boat. It's a small boats, relatively small boats. They don't have a cabin. They're light. They have Bermuda sails, Bermuda system sails, and they quite how to say catch and fun to run on the sail. Important part of this is actually have a more feeling about the wind and sail operation, so like positioning, flattening the sail, jibbing, reefing the sail, doing different turns, tacking and jabbing, and then also important skill which I lack is fear of stability. So I have kind of fear when the boat start tilting or doing this tilt. I feel like, okay, where I have a fear when it's not stopping, it's going to continue, and it's kind of a bit sometimes panic. But I think it's unreasonable panic and kind of ungrounded. And because this is light boats, they will tilt a lot easily, and I hope practicing this a lot will kind of take it out. So this is a plan for sale. Should be short, but it's already 8 minutes. Okay, so let me know in the comments if you want more thoughts about things, or if you're interested about this. And the big topic for this recording is actually instrumental tests. So yeah, let's say for my past career, I had 3 projects with instrumental tests, and they were in different stages of developing this kind of testing, because it's involving in testing tooling, is involving system, the runners and all kind of approaches, frameworks, everything is evolving. So things becomes easier, faster, or more stable and so on. However, still in the short attempt, I still cannot say they are not ideal, but okay, so let's say they are, how to say, I like them, let's say. I don't know. So I work at Yolt, where we had also instrumental tests running on emulators, running on the CI, and it was kind of 6 years ago, and it felt much more stable for me, and it felt much more, how to say, valuable. So at that time we had no QA people at all. everything was fast moving, and we need to have ability, confidence, not to do things repeatedly, and to make sure things not breaking and working as before, and giving us confidence. And they worked in this sense. They were flaky, and then we doing the automatic runs that reduced flagginess of things. Still there was causes of flagginess or yeah, things, but I would say amount of regression code comparing to amount of flakiness had actually sense. In this project, there are massive amount of instrumental tests, really massive. So I would say at Yole we had probably like 500, 700 years. I believe at least 1500, maybe more. Of course, it scales, so much more people writing this type of test. But when I joined, I immediately had had a frustration with them, because they quite often flaky, let's say often flaky, and they are part of PRs, same as at Yolt. We had part of PRs, but they are significantly slow down in PR time, PR reviewing time, and of course PR reviewing is not only the CI part, but also human being need to review and approve things. But in general, like when you had already approval and need to wait for CI to finish, it's frustrating. And I still missing. So at Yolt we started testing without much of agreement value of test. We knew that we want to have something automated, and shifting from people manual testing, and that's the idea of starting then and scaling this, sharding and so on. So there was kind of shared value, but there was no probably spoken, was kind of in the first months at least written down to be shareable, understandable, or readable. Here same, there is need for them, but the agreement about okay, so why we write them and how we write them, and where, how do we fix them and so on, is kind of sometimes missing. So at least there are no written stuff, and I see that UI test or this instrumental test written differently. And you can think about okay, so what could be value for this? You can say, hey, maybe you can I would say probably two main values for me is actually number of regression code, probably or at least regression number of codes, and that was actually noticeable at Yolt. Not sure in this project I remember things code, except that compilation failed because I changed the APIs, I changed something, and that of course could be different, also code by any production code or unit test. So it's nothing specifically for instrumental tests. But if I'll think about running instrumental tests and seeing the regression, don't remember any, at least for me, for my project, for my part of the project. And you can also think about the second value of this is actually removing manual tests and having confidence of releasing stuff or faster delivery. You can also measure delivery time, probably it's a really measurable thing. And here it's definitely the case. So definitely our QA people really appreciate having these things automated, because they don't need to, if it's run, they don't need to pay any attention to some parts, and things are much faster and easier. Okay, so let's talk maybe a bit about and I think it's super important. So in general, I think noticing the problem, stating the problem, talking about the problem, value and filling the plan and agreement and then evaluating it, it's really it's a key to actually have things motivated, deliverable, I don't know, stable and understandable and so on. So, and it all starts from stating the problem and what we want to have it from it. So, and this part actually often missing, or at least in this here's missing. So there's maybe I'm missing. So maybe I'm new still. Maybe there's something again in people mind. So nothing in documentation. Maybe it's in documentation, but I didn't find it. But the problem and that's a solution for this problem. This link I'm missing. And also, when you do the discussing the problem, I believe also discuss like how the solution and the implementation, and also missing like a discussion or agreement about implementation, because I see people writing these tests are in a way as unit tests. Basically, you treat your UI layer as a module, as a unit, and then everything is mocked, and then you do kind of test on top of it, and you check the state of the screen, usually like with Espresso, and then you check also that it behaved, it's communicated with dependencies in a correct, in an expected way. And this is how some people write them. So they probably treat it like a unit test, and then probably half of other people, maybe majority of the people writing it a bit more deeper. They actually mock several layers below, like repositories and sometimes even the network layer. And then they have really instrumental tests. I mean, like the first kind of unit test is still for me instrumental test, falling down to category of integration tests, because they still involve a lot of dependencies, a lot of like you need to fire at least simulator or connected device. You need to mock things, and this there are kind of already to mock general things to start, at least like sessions and authentication, maybe even if you don't use them, but because code under the test might have some side effects about this, and translations and language and orientation and form factor, a lot of things there. And of course you want to probably test also form factor and translations and but the way these tests are written is functional test, and yeah, in general value of functional test is actually it's functional. Doesn't matter what orientation language you have and other things. So basically they not actually testing correctness of the different things on a different what I said, or different on the differences, but they actually value and testing the functionality against all these things. And yeah, so yeah, what is the scope of this test? So like again, no agreement, like which should be like and also like the bigger scope you take for testing, the harder will be actually to find a problem. So if it fails, if it succeeds, it's always great. So we actually we tested a huge bunch of things. So we tested like multiple layers, and we have much more confidence in things working. But the problem starts, or that's a great achievement. So the problem starts when something breaks. When something breaks, you have to find out, like pinpoint, like what's actually wrong. And with the bigger scope, the harder it is. You need to really go layer by layer, log by log, videos and so on, to actually kind of have a as much as bigger picture about what happens, what happened, how to reproduce and given ideas and so on. And looking for this test right now is also I mean, like even this, that way of writing unit test-ish instrumental tests, from personal experience, you still spend significant energy and mental value for finding the pinpointing the cause and the reasoning. So even that the testing a smaller layer is still like significantly harder than doing the unit test, for example. So so then I think the biggest scoping you take, probably, like for me, I would say from personal experience, it's better than the majority of time tests will succeed. You have a bigger confidence things are actually working properly, and when it fails, then you spend, let's say, comparable time to find out the cause and fix it. And most importantly, also that fixing tests sometimes is much harder or sometimes even impossible, because you still run on things which you don't control. You cannot change or whatever. So like, yeah. So keep in mind, or when you do this, come up with the problem and agreement and a common way of writing things, and especially common evaluate things around discovering the problem and testing the problem and share the knowledge and improve the tools and so on and so on. So shortly also speak about possible ways of improvement or possible ways of things, what I see that right now, so before on starting it was important to test on real device because they were most reliable and fast. I think when we're doing this on YOLT, it was already proven that the emulators are scalable, fast, comparable to start, or at least reasonable to start, scale, fast to run, and they are stable. And having emulators is also giving you a possibility to have a really, almost full coverage for API level, form factor, orientation, and so on and so on. So basically with emulators you can, if you want, you can test majority of scenarios you want, and especially with emulators you are shielded from platform differences like favorite Samsung bugs or whatever. So I believe they should be handled or not get caught by instrumental tests at all. And most importantly, emulators also involving. So yes, in majority we run on Google emulators or in Google infrastructure with Google emulators, but there's already tools like Emulator VTF and Genymotion was the first, where you can choose an alternate solution which might be faster for your specific case, and for example it will be not so universal, but you probably don't need so much versatility. So what else to talk about instrumental tests? I know some companies, major companies or unknown companies not using instrumental tests because of lateness. Majority of things of speediness probably as well. I'm not sure if it was changed, but so what I heard, for example, that the Square having integration tests on top of the presenters view models, kind of, where the whole test, because that's written in pure Kotlin, Java, whatever, it's testable, complete integration, the whole system testable on JVM, and then they use this approach actually to test holistically, not holistically, but let's say deeper and integratedly on the whole system, and then they do screenshot testing. So they actually were kind of, I think, pioneers of screenshot testing, or at least they came with a solution which actually one of the leading solutions right now. And I'm not sure, I mean, like with this approach, you still don't test the actions from the user coming to your presenter, but probably they take this risk or they see from their historical data that this risk is not significant for them, and they catch it. It's faster. They catch it or find it in a different ways. Things like, for example, internal testing or whatever. So yeah, so screenshots great. So screenshot tests really also overlapping with instrumental tests, but I think the purpose there is a bit different, or significantly different, because screenshot tests for me are ensuring the correctness of the representation of pixel perfect, let's say, not, I will call it pixel stability, pixel size stability, that things are in the same places, things are rendered in the same colors, things are so layouting correctly on different form factors. And there, of course, with screenshots also let's say flakiness, or at least challenges when you run on different hosts. Then you might also get a different pixel representation, and that also affects actually the assertion. But all things kind of tackled, or at least working, or there are some different solutions to do that. So in general, screenshots tests done on JVM fast and reliable, and giving a great value. Anyway, I think I'm run through all my points about instrumental tests. I would say it's a great joy to do instrumental tests in terms of possibilities that you testing as much as possible in integrally your system, but also sometimes flakiness is disappointing, and you need to really have a solution for flakiness, and you need to probably compromise things based on historical data or on assumptions and validation this. And so for me, like rerunning flakiness probably the key or solution. If you cannot fight or cannot resolve things completely, or price of resolving this is so high that probably runs things automatically, and then also building tools which will later say that's a flakiness or that's actually a real problem. What Facebook did is probably a reasonable solution and good solution for this problem, or for this value. Okay, that's it for this video. So yeah, I hope I'll continue on a regular basis, so in months or so. My next offline meeting point is probably local meetups, and the bigger point will be KotlinConf at the end of this month. So if you're there, let's meet. And for next video, for the long topic, I think we'll talk about actually doing by example. So at current project and company, many things are involved, or kind of things are possible to fix or change, but sometimes it's not so easy in comparing to small teams, where it's much easier to get a consensus, or much easier to involve things up front, and then evaluate them later. And also, there's coming to the company, it always has this kind of it depends of course on personality, but it's also kind of trajectory. When you are new, you are noticing things, you are advocating for things, you are doing things, but then some things become normal, and some things become usual or not significant. And it's really important to remember this, keep your focus, keep your kind of personality. Some people are naturally can do this, I cannot. And you need to have supporters. And I want to talk about all these things around, like finding or spotting the point, or spotting the things you want to change, and then tracking things, and then selling this to audience, to the team, and probably upper management, and then also keeping the motivation, and some things. If it's interest for you, let me know. I hope to sharp this idea, and then I have a video later about it. Thanks. Still thinking about talks at meetup or at the conference. Still don't have anything like on my mind which sparkle or at least valuable. Still also slowly working on my pet project, so touching it like twice a month, whatever. I don't think it's sustainable or it's actually working. Probably I should stop doing it, and we'll see. So in general, thanks so much. And 32 minutes talking. It's enough, I believe. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, and stay tuned. Thank you so much. Have a great day.